All right, hi guys. Today we're going to go over making an outline for your essays. It's pretty simple stuff, and I think it's pretty useful if you're able to have your own template for making essays that you can kind of use to quickly finish them up if you really need a rush for a paper. So here we go. So here we have creating an outline. And so the first thing it says is that your thesis statement can help you organize your essay. So now that you have a thesis, you can develop an outline for your essay. An outline organizes your ideas and makes your writing easier. Writing your essay easier. A clear essay must be well organized, and an outline helps you to think about the logic of your argument. It also helps you to show relationships among ideas in your writing, and it can define boundaries and groups of ideas. So yeah, there's a bunch of different ways you can actually organize information in your outline. A well-structured thesis is a good thing to have, but you don't really need that for the first portion of your outline. I think it helps to help create a thesis is by having a well done outline. So the first thing you should do, yeah, you brainstorm, you can organize, you can order, and then you can label stuff. So I'll pull up later on in this video a bunch of different example outlines that I have. The best thing to do with an outline is to first I'll have this kind of general skeleton that you can kind of fill in information to. And so the first thing you should do is kind of address the overarching topic that you're trying to think about, and then move in immediately to the body paragraphs, and then the conclusion, and then go back up to the introduction. And I'll go over that later in the video. So here we just have kind of an example layout of how any outline should really look. We should have your main idea as the first, well, it could be letter here, which is, or number, Roman numeral. So it's going to be 1 here with your main idea, then you indent. It goes to capitalized number or letters then. So it's A or B, and then you can go all the way down to whatever letter you want. Then you switch over if you have another subtopic to the initial subtopics there. It goes to numbers, 1 or 2, and then indenting again, it would switch back to lowercase letters, so A and B. And so this is just an example of how you would actually type up your outline if you had kind of secondary information to the main topic. So I think it's just good knowledge to know this. All right, so here we just have a kind of a filled in sample outline here. So it's got the introduction, which basically has your hook and a bunch of introductory information. Then it has that thesis at the end here, which they have. So they have Brooklyn's colleges security is 2 lakhs. The campus should have security guards in every building, and students should be required to show their IDs at each time that they enter the building. So next they have the body paragraph, and they have it broken up into the 3 body paragraphs that they'll most likely be using. So they have the Brooklyn College has a relaxed security system. Then they have their evidence, which is that BC places guards only at the main entrances to campus. Students rarely show ID. So that's kind of their first piece of evidence that should be indented underneath it. Policies at the campuses highlight the relaxed nature of security, and then they cite that other campuses have security guards at the door of each building, and students cannot enter without showing ID. So again, it's just another kind of topic relevant to their overall kind of overarching topic mentioned in the thesis, and they cite that evidence down below that other people have to show ID when entering their buildings. And then they moved on to their 3rd body paragraph, which is that the school only places security guard, or that the school should place security guards in every building so that students must show ID to enter. So that's just kind of a recommendation paragraph. It's not really in the same format as the other 2, but it is kind of a good example to have of how you can kind of change up how the body paragraphs are presented. And so with them, they kind of had a recommendation here. And then they move on to their conclusion, which is with new and inexpensive ID policies, students will feel safer and have an easier time focusing on their studies. So again, that's just kind of bringing it back to the modern world, and that kind of just explaining the relevance of this whole kind of essay. And yeah, so I think this is kind of a good, really kind of simplified outline of an essay that you can kind of look off of. Okay guys, so here we just have a basic template for a 4-paragraph essay with the introduction, body paragraph 2, and then the conclusion. So this is kind of just an easy layout for any kind of paper that you're going to do. The good thing about starting out with a template is that you're never really going to work with a blank piece of paper now whenever you write an essay. So the first thing to note is that with this kind of style of outlining your essay, the last thing you're going to do is actually write your introduction. So you're going to start with the body paragraphs are going to be the first thing you look at, because that's really where like the meat of the essay is. Um, yeah. So the first thing you look at with the first body paragraph is you have the paragraph topic sentence. So that's kind of like the introduction to the overall idea of that paragraph. Then you move down to like the first point in the topic. So that's kind of the first piece of evidence really that you have to support that main topic idea that you kind of addressed in that body paragraph. Moving into that, you have an example and explanation. So you kind of cite your information. So that's going to be your quote or whatever kind of piece of information you have that will back up your topic idea. And then you explain your quote just underneath that. And then you can move on to your second piece of evidence. And then finally, you move on to the conclusion slash transition portion of the paragraph where you kind of just culminate everything you just said. And then you move into the next topic that's addressed by the second paragraph in the body. Okay, so now we're going to look at the introduction portion of this template. And so after you write your body paragraphs, you should have a general understanding of the essay's topics and kind of the evidence you're using to back it up. And so you're going to be able to fill in your thesis statement by kind of summarizing those body paragraphs, which you have, and then kind of giving addressing the whole paper or the paper as a whole. And if you need more help making a thesis statement, I have a prior video kind of going over that. So then you're going to need to ask yourself, what will the instructor need to know to understand what those ideas mean? And then you're going to jot that information down in the numbers B and C there with the background and explanation terms. So whatever the instructor doesn't really know that you haven't stated in your body paragraphs, you should be stating in the introduction to give them that background knowledge of kind of the overarching theme that you're going to be kind of bringing out through this. So now we're going to move down to the conclusion portion of your essay. And so it starts off with restate points as necessary. So if you believe that your essay is long and complicated enough that you need to repeat your ideas, you can. But if not, you could just skip that portion. And so when you think about the second portion, which is make clear points, and moving down to the second portion of the conclusion, it says make it clear points have been made and the paper is done. So here you're kind of just giving a kind of concluding opinion on the whole essay, and you should be able to restate your thesis statement right into the conclusion. And yeah, so if you want to have a further kind of explanation of the conclusion, go to one of my other previous videos, and they should kind of explain it much better. Now, after you've kind of finished up your conclusion, you should go all the way back up to the top of your essay and look at that first kind of bullet in, which is the paper's topic sentence. And so you should be able to kind of write a concise and clear topic sentence because you just wrote your whole entire essay now, and you should be able to kind of completely understand it and better find a way to hook the reader while also giving the information of the essay as a whole. All right, guys, that's what I have for you on an outline. I hope you got something out of this video. I think outlines are super important for whenever you make an essay because they're going to help you kind of make concise thoughts and kind of clearly label where you're going to put everything for your essay. And yeah, see you in the next video.